supplicate thee, O queen, whether thou art a goddess or a mortal. If indeed thou art a goddess of them that keep the wide heaven, to Artemis, then, the daughter of great Zeus, I mainly liken thee, for beauty and stature and shapeliness. But if thou art one of the daughters of men who dwell on earth, thrice blessed are thy father and thy lady mother, and thrice blessed thy brethren. Surely their souls ever glow with gladness for thy sake, each time they see thee entering the dance, so fair a flower of maidens. But he is of heart the most blessed beyond all other who shall prevail with gifts of wooing, and lead thee to his home. Never have mine eyes beheld such an one among mortals, neither man nor woman. Great awe comes upon me as I look on thee. Yet in Delos once I saw a goodly thing, a young sapling of a palm tree springing by the altar of Apollo. For thither too I went, and much people with me, on that path where my sore troubles were to be. Yea, and when I looked thereupon, long time I marveled in spirit, for never grew there yet so goodly a shoot from the ground. Even in such wise as I wonder at thee, lady, and am astonied and do greatly fear to touch thy knees, though grievous sorrow is upon me. Yesterday, on the 20th day, I escaped from the wine-dark deep, and all that time continually the wave bare me, and the vehement winds drave, from the isle of Ogygia. And now some god has cast me on this shore, that here too, methinks, some evil may betide me. For I trow not the trouble that will cease. The gods ere that time will yet bring many a thing to pass. But queen, have pity on me, for after many trials and sore, to thee first of all I am come, and of the other folk, who hold the city and land, I know no man. Nay, show me the town, give me an old garment to cast about me, if thou hadst when thou camest here, and any wrap for the linen. And may the gods grant thee all thy heart's desire, a husband and a home. And a mind at one with his may they give, a good gift, for there is nothing mightier and nobler than when man and wife are of one heart and mind in a house. A grief to their foes, and to their friends a great joy, but their own hearts know it best. I'm going to chalk this up to Odysseus being topsy-turvy, to say the least, not only after 20 days at sea, but also his time with Calypso on Ogygia, and also the 9 years leading up to that from Troy, because he's a little all over the place here with this. You'd think that you maybe like start with an apology, like, oh geez, I know how this must look. Don't be afraid. Look, I've seen a lot of shit in my day. Lots of stuff has gone down. I just need some covering. If you could just give me something to cover my little wing doodle with, I deeply appreciate that. You have nothing to fear for me. I don't want to touch you. I'm afraid to touch your knees. Just don't go running off. I guess that's, if you are a creep, that's probably also what you would say. But Odysseus is kind of going off and like telling his life story and assuming things about, like, how does he even know that Nausicaa isn't already married? Maybe, I guess there would be some physical indication of that. I don't think they had wedding bands at the day, but there's probably something. Would she be out all alone if she was married? I don't know. I don't know how that worked back in the day. Suffice it to say, Odysseus is all over the place. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy to see you. I'm so afraid of you. I don't want to touch your knees, but also like it's weird that I said touch your knees. And you are so pretty. You look like Artemis. And also this one time I saw a palm tree that was springing by the altar of Apollo, and I went there too. And I had sore troubles. And what am I gonna do? And also, I hope that you will help me, and goodness knows that anyone who sees you is so blessed, and I hope you have a husband one day, and maybe could you give me a scarf to wrap around myself, please? He's like so all over the place, man. I don't know. Maybe at the time this would have been seen as a carefully constructed appeal to her. I don't get that myself. But I guess, if you are audiences of the time, you know the kind of social decorum that comes with meeting a stranger. It does, it has praise, it has humility, it has restraint in it. It avoids the physical touch. Good choice on that one, Odysseus, to just not go right up to her knees. A naked man attacking a woman's knees, probably not a good thing. Probably alarming, regardless of when in history that happens. It's just one of the things that I'm finding strange here is that Odysseus' story exists before the Odyssey, and definitely before we are meeting him in this story. So all of the reputation that we've heard from Menelaus and Telemachus and Mentor and Nestor, like all of these people who have talked up Odysseus before now, and what we know of him from the Iliad, puts together this kind of like picture of a noble statesman, a great thinker, someone who is deliberate in his actions. And, you know, we're meeting him at probably the worst period of his life. So it's just strange that we are getting a lot of impressions of him that are different than his reputation. Not to say that he's not worth his reputation, just the way this is written, I feel like in 2026, there would be a whole chapter or more going into his psychology and why he's not presenting himself or holding himself in the way that his reputation precedes him. We don't get that here. We simply have to take the reputation for what it is and take Odysseus for where he is. We're going to meet him where he's at. And it's in a point of crisis. One thing I'm kind of curious about is you see this a lot, actually. And Odysseus here compares Nausicaa to Artemis. And it's a signal to show, I guess, respect and admiration for someone. How do the gods take that? Maybe each individual god takes it a little bit differently. I would imagine that, because I think, don't quote me on this, but I believe in Clash of the Titans 1981, which is, I guess, not necessarily a seminal milestone in Greek mythology, but there is a whole sequence in that when Thetis hears someone comparing someone else to her or saying that this mortal exceeds the beauty of her or something, causes her to like destroy her own temple and chastise the mortals for offending her. So how do you use those comparisons strategically? I guess Odysseus knows, and I don't, and that's why he's he and I'm me. I'm just gonna say I've never been stranded from home for 10 years, unless you talk about my time in Los Angeles, in which case it was 15 years and not 10 years. But also I wasn't held captive. Well, not by a sea nymph, more by money and misaligned ambition. I'm not gonna go into my therapy session here. Boy, oh boy, what a messy episode. Sorry, folks. You know what? I'm going to blame this one on Odysseus. He gave me chaotic energy, and I just carried that over into my commentary. Boy, oh boy, let's see how Nausicaa is going to react to Odysseus' plea for help. Join me here tomorrow. Okay, goodbye. Odyssey is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. The show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Odyssey, written by Homer. Theme song by Neuroflow. You can support this show and other shows like it by going to patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.